So I want to share something deep that occurred, something I understood that I want to share something from last week. Two things came together from two opposites that kind of flipped my mind over. So one was it's a class that Effie Ehrenberg gives on Tuesdays now. And he just finished learning Isa B'Medrash Tillim, which is what bar mitzvah, Lubavitch bar mitzvah boys, the mimer they learn before their bar mitzvah. And basically what it's saying in very, very short is that when we do a mitzvah, Hashem does the same mitzvah. Okay, so that's one level. And another level, it's the same mitzvah. It's the same mitzvah. Like we're doing the mitzvah, that's really Hashem doing the mitzvah. Okay, hold that thought. Now, so we have that when we're doing the mitzvah, it's Hashem doing the mitzvah. And then we've been learning for 10 years in Torah's HaNefesh that how to do good is give Hashem credit for the good that we do, because it's Hashem giving us the energy, it's Hashem giving us the situation, it's Hashem giving us the motivation. So those two ideas from opposite sides kind of met in my mind, that we give Hashem credit for doing the mitzvah, do good, because Hashem is actually doing the mitzvah. Now, tell me if that doesn't turn your mind inside out. It's Hashem doing the mitzvah when we're doing the mitzvah. That's why we give Hashem credit for the good that we do. And this has the effect of keeping the ego humble, not letting the ego soar. I did good. I'm better than those other people who don't do so much good like I do good. You avoid all that self-image maintenance. Anyway, for me, it was a very good mental flip. It's hard to hold on to that level of consciousness, but even just from time to time, it's good to melt into divine oneness, right? It's like a little vacation. I pick you. Yes, Hindle, tell us.
Ima and I are waving to each other. Hi, Ima!
Hi, Hindle and Miriam and everybody.
Wow, and we have Lisa on and Rifki, Leah. This is so nice, Hannah. All right, everybody. Miriam, I have a question. Where does it say that when we do the mitzvah, Hashem is doing the mitzvah, which makes sense because the mitzvah is Hashem, really. But where does it say that if someone were to challenge me and ask that?
Isa B'Medrash Tehillim, ask any Lubavitch bar mitzvah boy. That's the mimer that they learned. It's not even that long.
I can say it by heart, but I have no idea what it means.
The Hasidic Heritage series.
Okay, interesting. I like it.
Or if you can hear Rabbi Effie's back, he gave about 4 classes on it. So
I'll wait for the next bar mitzvah. Okay. I'm signing up.
How many minutes do we have to go till the next bar mitzvah? Is it getting closer? I'm coming. Save me a seat. Okay, here we go. So now with that introduction. So for those proud book owners, last time we got up to page 81, but I want to review 80 and 81 before we continue because it has deep things in it. It's really very deep. I mean, each paragraph here could really be like a whole long class, but okay, it's from the top of 80, alternatively. Since Hashem is the ultimate source of all true life and pleasure, we may have mistaken evil for holiness and therefore thereby been, very carefully these next words, lured into believing that pursuing a path forbidden by Hashem will lead us to Him. This is very important. This is, in other words, where we're going in the next page and a half is learning how to not be judgmental against people and ourselves. Because somehow every time we've pursued a path, a thought, speech, or action forbidden by Hashem, there's some level where we thought it would lead us to Him. It's kind of a mind-blowing idea, but it really helps to drop the judgment against people. They're just mistaken. They somehow thought that this path was going to lead them to Hashem. Here, the promise of Hashem in the transgression dupes us into committing it. And as we said last time, this was the whole Shopsite Shti movement. The evil inclination plays on our innate desire to know God in the fullest possible way. So there's a good sense. Everyone has an innate desire. Every Jew has an innate desire to know Hashem in the fullest possible way. But sometimes it gets distracted into thinking that we're going to find, etc. The context of the ploy is indeed evil, but the kernel of it is the spark of holiness trapped within the forbidden act. Once we succeed in isolating the holy kernel from the evil context, we may then focus on it, see what fascination it holds, and reorient it into a context of holiness. So this is it. This is what we want to do. Reorient it into a context of holiness. Yes, and we have to have emunah and bitachon that we can do this. That it might take a few miracles en route, but to reorient this into a context of holiness. The transgression then serves as the motivation to seek out Hashem in a more intense way. So this is the Yagati Umatzasi. I was searching. The transgression was really a searching for Hashem in the wrong direction. But now I can use it to motivate me to seek out Hashem in a more intense way. This is the Baal Tshuva. When we do this, we have effectively transformed our previous transgressions into merits. We spoke about this many times. Gemara Yuma, 86b. When we do tshuva out of love, the averas, the transgressions are turned into merits. It's a mind-blowing idea. It's like retroactively changing the past, that it could have been defined at one point in our life, in our consciousness, as a transgression, and now we're redefining it as a merit. That's unbelievable. What a deal. Because of the initial wrongdoing, we are now connecting with Hashem at a higher and more intense level than we did before. So, I was writing this to a young friend of mine about lured into believing a path forbidden by Hashem will lead us to him. And he asked, so how do we know what's the path forbidden by Hashem? But I think, a lot of it is spelled out in the Torah. A lot of it is spelled out in the teachings of the writings. A lot of it is spelled out in Chassidus. And maybe sometimes it's very subtle and we have to confer with a best friend or a mashpia or someone to know. Maybe it's not always clear. But, sometimes some things are more clear, but it's still a struggle. It's still a struggle even when it's clear. Okay. So then the bottom of 80, we're not going to read the story again. The bottom of 80 is saying, do tshuva, but don't be neurotic. Because you can be neurotic about tshuva. That's so unpleasant if the passerbys. Top of 81, the second paragraph. In contrast, instead of being neurotic, when we depart from a wrong path by transforming its evil into good, we live in a context of joy, love, and forgiveness. And I was thinking this forgiveness, a lot of it is forgiving ourselves. Like how could I have been so stupid as to done this, thought this, said this? Like, we have to forgive ourselves. It was just, we were just confused. We somehow thought that this was the way that would lead to God, but we were wrong. So we have to forgive ourselves and forgive everybody. It was just, they were mistaken in their path to God. Even though we recognize the evil in the wrong path, we simultaneously recognize its inner reality, misguided good. It's a brilliant idea to be able to see those annoying qualities. Misguided good. Okay, keep that in mind. Without compromising our absolute censure of its evil context, we can focus on the inner core of good within that context. The inner core of good, by focusing on the good in everything, the good in people, I wrote on top of everything, by seeing the good in people, we empower the good to overcome the evil. This is the deep reason why the sages instruct us to judge everyone favorably. So this is where we got up to last time, so I just want to go over this last idea. By seeing the good in people, We empower the good to overcome the evil. That means it's not just that it's much more pleasant in my consciousness when I see the good in people. It's like so unpleasant to see the negative in people. It's unpleasant in my mind. I'm creating an ugly environment in my poor mind. If I see the good in people, I'm creating a lovely environment in my mind. But it's more than that. Even though that is a good motivation to train ourselves to see the good in people, it's like we're empowering the good in the person when we do that. We are affecting reality. You know, Trach good and Vedzayin good, our thoughts affect reality. We're responsible for our thoughts, and our thoughts, so we can empower the good in people by seeing the good in people. I mean, this is something we need to meditate on. We can empower the good in people by seeing it. And this is the deeper reason why the sages say to judge everyone favorably. That means that by judging them favorably, we're empowering the good in them. I mean, it's very deep to think we can affect reality to such an extent. And not only, so first we have to believe that it's true, that the sages are not just saying this because, you know, they're trying to pull the wool over our eyes, but that it's true. We have to believe it's true, that judging everyone favorably affects reality and brings out the good in the person. First, we have to believe it. And then we have to practice it, because there's people who irritate us easily, and then we might not see the good in them so quickly. So we have to believe that right now, here we are in this lovely day of the 6th of Kislev, which, by the way, reminds me that Wednesday is the Mittler Rebbe's birthday and Yurtzeit, and the day before his day of liberation. And I'm seriously thinking that a trip to Menucha Rachel, his daughter, is long overdue. So anyone who might be interested in this, would be like, you know, in the morning, whatever, not too long, not too late. But send me a message if you think you might be available. Oh, look, Olivia's coming. That's good. That'll make it really special. Then a lot of people will just come to see her. That'll increase the crowds. Yes. L'chaim, l'chaim. Okay, so that's where we got up to. Now we're up to fresh material here, the middle of page 81. The purpose of Kabbalah psychotherapy is to enable more and more of the darkness of the subconscious to be illuminated by the light of the conscious, the light of the conscious. We want to slowly illuminate the darkness of our subconscious, which, you know, being honest with ourselves. The more the hidden dark regions of the mind are brought to light, the more they can be elevated into the realm of holiness through the process described above, seeing the kernel, seeing it as misguided good, that it was misguided good. The more we succeed in exposing and rectifying our darker side, the less we'll be plagued by invasive thoughts and urges surfacing from it involuntarily. So that's a good one. Plagued by invasive thoughts and urges surfacing from our subconscious involuntarily. Now, I always find that quite unpleasant, don't you, when those invasive thoughts and urges arise from I'm laughing and crying at the same time, as usual. I don't know what kind of weird sense of humor I have, but I should think that's funny at all, those plagued by invasive thoughts and urges. Well, it's the common human condition. We shouldn't think that we're special. And some of those thoughts are really not coming from a really bright person. It's like, huh? Okay, so it's the not too bright part of ourselves also, invasive thoughts and urges. So we have to be able to, we're gonna, you know, so this is one, so we're gonna, the turnout, as we've learned already, we have to identify with the divine soul more. The only way we can really be honest with ourselves about our invasive thoughts and urges is when we're identifying with the divine soul. That's why it's chapter 2 in Tanya, because you can't really understand the whole Tanya without it saying that we have a divine soul. So we have a divine soul, we have to step into it, and then we can be more honest about exposing and rectifying our darker side. And the more we do that, the less we'll be plagued by invasive thoughts and urges, because it's a pain in the neck fighting them off. It takes effort. I'd rather catch up in Rambam, where I'm usually 500 pages behind, than fight off those annoying invasive thoughts and urges. So how do we do that? We have to expose our darker side. We have to be honest about it. And how do we do that? We have to identify more with our divine soul. We have to believe we have a divine soul and identify with it. Okay. We're continuing. This state of freedom from the unrectified lower self is true mental well-being. So what's true mental well-being? The state of freedom from the unrectified lower self. It's really, who wants to be bossed around by our unrectified lower self? Okay, so, and this is sought after by the therapeutic techniques prescribed by the Kabbalah and Hasidus. So what is Hasidus helping us with? A state of freedom from the unrectified lower self. This brings true mental well-being. Unhampered by the confines imposed by evil, the creative good in each individual can shine forth and impress its unique expression of divinity on reality. A good sentence here too. Let's go over this. Unhampered by the confines imposed by evil, okay? Because that's always unpleasant. Creative good in each individual. We all have creative good. We want it to shine forth. And we each have a unique expression of divinity. It's each one of us. That's the uniqueness of each of us. We are each expressing Hashem in this world. We're here to be a shliach of Hashem in this world, right? Can everyone please nod their head that we're here to be a shliach of Hashem in this world? Yes, isn't that exciting? Life has meaning. We have people turning on their cameras to nod their head. That's very friendly. Yes, so we're shluchim of Hashem in this world, and we have a unique expression of divinity. Only each of us can be that shliach of Hashem, and we each have created good, and we're able to do it when we're unhampered by the confines imposed by evil. So this is why we're all gathered here today, in order to do this. Okay, bottom paragraph on 81. In the conflict between light and darkness, light by its very nature wins. If a little light, in quote, dispels a lot of darkness, a lot of light will dispel darkness completely and take its place as the rightful inheritor of the mind. Also a very interesting idea. The rightful, and who do we want to inherit our mind? Our animal soul or our divine soul? I have a strange sense of humor. Who should inherit our mind? Let's think about it. And they're fighting to, and I like that language. I never would ever, I think I have to underline that. The inheritor of the mind. They're fighting to see who's the true inheritor of our mind. So we have that choice. Very exciting. And now we are turning the page. Giving voice, page 82, giving voice to the soul. So this is the giving voice to the divine soul, giving voice. So how do we do that? How do we give our divine soul a voice in our freedom of choice, in our choice making? As pointed out above, the psychotherapeutic techniques of separation, Havdalah, are predicated on the awareness of our inner divine core, the inner point of pristine goodness within us that cannot be defiled. Okay, that's a pristine goodness within us that cannot be defiled. So we have to meditate on that we have a pristine goodness. Hey, we have a pristine goodness within us. And no matter what little life experiences we've had, whether it's happened to us or we've done them, either way, it's all Hashem, we know, whether it's happened to us or we've done them, there remains pristine goodness within us that cannot be defiled. A great idea. And also our other friends also have this pristine goodness that cannot be defiled. Okay? So we want to get into contact with that pristine goodness. We want that to be our identity ultimately. or at least to be able to step into it. That's what Havdalah is, that I can separate from my animal soul, bossing me around quite unpleasantly, and step into pristine goodness that cannot be defiled. It is this inner spark, the deepest aspect of our divine soul, that allows us to engage in positive reinterpretation. And remember, everyone, we're in chapter 7 of our book, which is called Positive Reinterpretation and Inner Transformation. Just what we're looking for, positive reinterpretation. You know, and that's part of what we've been learning for many years, that why define it as an avera? Why define it as a mistake? Let's redefine it as a catalyst for growth. All that stuff in our life, we can redefine it as a catalyst for growth. That's positive reinterpretation. What a great field to get into, positive reinterpretation. Yes, we should start getting master degrees in positive reinterpretation. Only the part of us that knows only good, that is beyond the reach of evil, can look evil in the face and see only good. And that's the trach good and vetzayin good. That's betachin, believing that Hashem is good, whether we see it or not. Whether we see it or not, Hashem is good. That is betachin. That is betachin, that we can't understand so many things that are happening in this world that seem like innocent people are suffering. It doesn't, it's painful. And not only that, we have to see reality accurately and be able to honestly empathize with people suffering. But at the same time, there's the paradox of believing that Hashem is good and the circumstances of our life are good. And these are the circumstances Hashem has given us to help us lower our ego. Because when we lower our ego, we can fill that space with Hashem's rachamim and joy. So believing it's all good, this is positive reinterpretation. So to look, the divine soul could look evil in the face and see only good. It's a level, it's a level, Avi, it's a level of tzaddikim. That was Rabbi Akiva. Even God forbid, he was being tortured to death by the Romans, but he saw only good. It's a level. No wonder, we've suffered enough. No more suffering, no more torture by the Romans. It should just be everyone. We should bless each other. It should all be revealed good and lots of fun and joy and simcha l'chaim. Okay. So, second paragraph here. Since this innermost core of our psyche is usually concealed deep within our normal consciousness, coaxing it out of hiding is no simple manner. One of the ways available to us is spontaneous, candid speech. Now, here's an unusual idea. How can we get to that innermost core of our psyche? How can we coax the divine soul out of its hiding? Through spontaneous, candid speech. So this obviously needs an explanation. I'm just checking the time here in case we, God forbid, get cut off at 11:42. So we have time. Okay, what is this talking about? What is the spontaneous, candid speech? The Torah identifies the power of speech as the quintessential expression of humanity. Remember that midaber? Didn't you always wonder why we have like the inanimate and the plant world and the animal world and the people world is called midaber. The person is, so the speech is something very deep to our being human. Even though our ability to think is far superior to that of other forms of life, what defines us as uniquely human is our ability to articulate our thoughts and feelings to another human being. This is because even more than thought, speech has the power to reveal the hidden depths of the soul. So speech. I have footnote 31 with a little circle around it. So for those lucky people that have the book, you can turn to page 168. While at the same time keeping your finger on our place where we're up to. So we're looking at footnote 31. It is for this reason that in Jewish philosophy, man is called the speaker, medaber, rather than the thinker or the knower, maskil. Isn't that an interesting idea? Because we could have been called the thinker, but we're called medaber, the speaker. Significantly, the numerical value of the word medaber, you can see this is a book by Yitzchak Ginzburg, is 246. 246 is the gematria of medaber. It's the same as that of the phrase used in Tanakh to describe the uniqueness of humanity. We were created in the image of Hashem, Tselem Elokim, that's in Bereshis. So Tselem Elokim equals medaber. So how are we in the image of Hashem? Medaber. Having been created in the image of Hashem, man is capable of emulating Hashem. Just as Hashem created the world through speech, so is man able to rectify Hashem's creation, to bring it to its divinely intended consummation, to sweeten all of reality through our own rectified speech. Rectified speech. We can sweeten reality with rectified speech. Now there's another. Let's make a l'chaim on that one. Hashem should give us the insight and courage to sweeten reality with our rectified speech. L'chaim.
I know we have
Yes.
exactly like 9 minutes left, but can you give an example of how we can do that?
Okay. Well, just when we're about to say, I hate you, you're stupid, go away. And we're so justified. We say instead, I see, dear, that you're upset. Can I help you in some way, darling?
You let me know how that goes over.
Well, that's only one of my examples, but I'm sure we can all give examples from home and abroad.
Hannah.
Yes. Okay, everyone's got that. We're going to practice. We're going to practice rectified, sweetening reality with rectified speech. So that's going to be the homework assignment. Keep a little journal, ladies. Every time you've sweetened reality with rectified speech, give yourself a big pat on Hashem's back. Thank you, Hashem, for helping me. This is so exciting. Doesn't that sound like an exciting challenge? Sweetening reality with rectified speech as your homework assignment. Tell all your friends to sign up for this class, and they can do it too. Yes, okay. Okay, now we have how many seconds? It's getting closer. We have all experienced, now we're back in the text, 82, towards the bottom. We have all experienced how talking things out, even to ourselves, helps us order and crystallize our thoughts. Often articulating our thoughts helps us to uncover deeper insights and perception into what we are articulating. So we have to have that good friend, and we have to articulate our thoughts. The sages teach us that more understanding was given to women than to man. That was the Bina Yisera that we ladies got. That's from Gemara Nida, page 45b, if anyone asks you the source of where does that come from. More understanding was given to women than men. One of the mystical interpretations of this saying in Hasidic thought is that man symbolizes silence and women symbolizes speech. You know, this is going into a whole new idea, so I think we'll officially stop. Let's just go over what we learned today. So we're officially finishing by that last paragraph, deeper insights and perception into what we were articulating. So let's go over in our remaining moments here. Reminder, anyone who wants, let's really think about Wednesday, the Mittler Rebbe's birthday in Yurtzeit, and one day before his day of liberation, of going to Menucha Rachel, which we haven't gone for so long. And people should try to let me know today, because then maybe, I don't know for sure, I can maybe order lunch from that lovely woman who makes lovely lunches. No promises. We can try our best, though, because it is the Mittler Rebbe. Okay, that's one thing we said. Then let's just go over what we learned today. So we don't want to be lured into believing that pursuing a path forbidden by Hashem will lead us to Him. I mean, these are very powerful words. This is what the Yetzer Hara does. It lures us into believing that pursuing a path forbidden by Hashem will lead us to Him, because that's what people want. The promise of Hashem and the transgression. This has happened in Jewish history. It's not something esoteric. It's something that's happened. We want to avoid it at home and in our minds. But there's a kernel of holiness trapped. We want to reorient that into a context of holiness. Because again, we're being empowered to do these things by learning this together. And the transgression then serves as the motivation to seek out Hashem in a more intense way. And we've seen this, these things that have happened to us or that we've done can help us. We've all seen this, to seek out Hashem in a more intense way. And then we transform our previous, either our previous transgressions or our previous suffering or whatever it is, into merits if it's helping us to serve Hashem in a more intense way. And this idea of judging everyone favorably, because when we judge everyone favorably, we're bringing out the good in them. We're not only making our mind a more pleasant place to hang out in by judging people favorably, but we're bringing out the good in that very person. And people it's a big public service to bring out the good in people, to see the good in people, to focus on the good in people. And we are empowering each other to do that right now. So that's also another fun activity for this week, is judge people favorably and help bring out their good, another homework assignment. Okay, so, and that's brilliant. To judge everyone favorably is affecting reality. It's such an important idea. It's not just doing it for ourselves. And then we want to, and the more we rectify our darker side, the less we will be plagued by invasive thoughts and urges surfacing from it involuntarily. So that's a big, and it's because it takes so much effort for the aspiring Beni to push down those thoughts that are involuntarily coming up. And so it's possible to lighten things up. The more honest we are with ourselves in what we have to work on, what we have to transform, the less we're plagued by invasive thoughts and urges. Another bargain. Okay. And this state of freedom from the unrectified lower self is true mental well-being. This is true mental well-being. That's why we've all been learning this book this whole time. It's quite miraculous that we've reached page 81. And Celeste will be plagued. Okay, so this is true mental. What is true mental well-being? It's freedom from the unrectified thoughts. Freedom from unrectified thoughts leads to true mental well-being. And then it's a possible, this is what we're working on. This is a good goal in life. And when we do that, our creative good can shine forth and impress its unique expression of divinity on reality, that we're each shluchim of Hashem, we each have a unique expression, we're each a unique expression of divinity. It's true, we know it's true, and we want it to shine on reality. Mwah, mwah.